I am Aishu. My name is Aishu. I founded Love Letters to Chefs about 6 years ago now, and it was very much inspired by my experience in this industry. I used to work as a pastry chef, and I'm a career changer. I am originally an architect, and then when I worked in this industry, I really loved it. But I was very conscious of how some of the things in our culture affected. Hi, Deepesh, welcome. I was very conscious of how some of the things in our culture affected my colleagues around me. I could see their lives being affected, their health, their well-being, their mental health, all those things being affected, and it made me cautious about, how those things can really affect you and the way you operate, not just within your day-to-day, work, but then also in your personal life. So I know that some of the things that I talk about are really speaking to what I experienced, and just made me want to question, are those norms that we believe in our industry, are they still worth holding on to? What's a different way? And that's what I attempt to answer with Love Letters to Chefs. So if you're all joining me today for the first time, welcome. I try to do this every week to give at least one insight that you can use to support yourself, your well-being during your work. I'm a coach. I also teach workshops for hospitality teams, so combining a lot of things. Again, addressing the culture, but also giving hints, tips, and ideas of how you can support your well-being in a demanding profession like ours. Everyone can do something. It doesn't matter how busy you are, but just something that ensures that you are doing what you can to look after yourself. So that's a priority. And today the topic is about rest and the quality of rest you get. The reason I wanted to talk about this is, if you've seen my post this week, I talked about always being on your guard, or always being on the edge. Hi, Hassel, welcome. Always being on the edge. Most of us in hospitality experience that. Maybe it's something from the brigade system. It could be, but that's a topic for another video. But you might also share this experience that some of the people in this community have. They've shared with me that they struggle to switch off on the days off. Sometimes going home, after they get home, it's not very easy to unwind. It takes them a long time to really get ready for bed because their mind is still active, and also quite often it's not easy for them to do things with their family on their days off. They just have no energy, and they're not able to give the energy that they want to their families. So in a lot of ways, this, it's very draining, this being on edge all the time, and this is something that you can't avoid. There is probably a reason why maybe that we have to be really vigilant all the time. It could just be that the kind of work we do, we work with tools and implements that could harm somebody or cause damage to something. So there's always a need to be vigilant, of course, but then there's also the thing of possibly being on alert from the brigade system. It's a system that's modeled on the army. It could be that leads, there's this thing of having to be hyper vigilant all the time, always ready for battle. And that is the case. You always have to respond to things, and it's a very fast-paced environment, but we have to see how it affects us outside of our work. So today's message is just to let your guard down if you can during your breaks, because I know the temptation is always that time is yours, so you want to perhaps go into social media, scroll, but then you kind of have that same nervous energy. You might be scrolling, you're just rapidly scrolling, looking for something that draws your attention, and your mind is still active. You don't give it a rest. I don't know if you have the opportunity to take a few minutes to just switch off during your break. I know that's not always easy because you might have to go back in a few minutes. You don't want to be late. After your break, I worked as a pastry chef. You might have something that you're watching over in the kitchen. Your mind might be unconsciously, but you might be conscious of a timer that you've set. It's not always easy to switch off, but my invitation to you is to try and switch off for a few minutes at least. One thing to do is, this is again just a suggestion, just an invitation for me, to really make sure you ground yourself, because that's what will help you, because that nervous energy, being on edge, being alert all the time, that keeps your, oh, there's someone else who's joined, I can't read, but it keeps your nervous energy up here. It really helps to draw your energy down to your feet, to the ground, and that's what grounds you. So one way to do that, I don't know if you are really conscious of your energy, but some people can really feel where the energy flows. In that case, you can just draw it towards the ground and feel grounded. But another way might be just to focus on your feet and see how they're firmly planted. Feel how they're firmly planted on the floor. Feel what that feels like. See what that feels like. Just tune into that feeling of groundedness if you can. If it's safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes as well when you do that for a few minutes. And of course, the caveat, if you have to go back in a few minutes, set an alarm. If you have some baked goods in the oven, again, set an alarm. You don't want to, relax too much, and then miss out on what you have to do. One last thing I want to say is, there's this fine balance between being alert, as we need to do on our job, and then also knowing how to relax your energy instantly. And that's what helps you enjoy better rest, if you're able to get into that mode of rest. Some of the other things that I've shared in the past are like, take a look at how you spend your commute. For example, do you again spend it? I know it's your time, you don't want to restrict it, but also think of how you spend your commute. The kind of music you listen to on your commute, perhaps. All those things can affect your rest. Immediately after shift, but just try this for a little while. Try this for a few days and see whether it really gives you some kind of sort of detachment from work for a few seconds. It gives you a sort of detachment from that sort of nervous energy. And also it's short enough, that period is short enough that you can go back to work refreshed. That's the purpose, right? You look after your well-being at work as well as outside of work. And it's a win-win for both, right? It's a win-win for your personal life as well as your professional life. If you go back refreshed to work, that's another benefit that you get from it, rather than rushing back to work in that same, sort of, I shouldn't call it frantic state, but, not relaxed. The break is, if you can take it, if you do take it, the break is to help you refresh a little bit so that you go back refreshed, and as well as, helping you sort of relax better later, because you've had some time during the day to switch off, rather than carried out in that same sort of state of energy throughout the day. So I hope this has been helpful. I've just rushed through what I wanted to say very quickly, but I hope that has given you at least one insight today. Join me every week. I do share some insights and tips and ideas. So join me every week. And thank you for watching. Bye everyone.